split.
Well, there you have it. Turns out the era of EnvyUs might be short-lived as NIP roll back the years with a comprehensive performance of the current holders of the most recent major. We're absolutely stunned here on the analysis desk. It isn't a good day to be making predictions. Thorin is especially upset. Fiflaren less so, but let's try and pick the bones out of that one. It is going to be Thorin, Fiflaren, and Yanko here with me, Richard Lewis.
It's getting hot in here, guys. Someone turn up the heating. What's going on?
Yeah, but a crazy game. Another one so far in this tournament. We've already seen someone.
Did I ever tell you about the time I invented that term, nip magic? I'm turning it back again, guys. Turning it back my favour again.
So what was that?
Here's the sad thing. This is where I can now tell an anecdote, okay? So when I was backstage earlier, people might have seen on my Twitter account, Thorin with 3 O's, I tweeted out a picture of me and Alu, okay? And actually, when I was talking to Alu said to me, I can't do a Finnish accent, but
yeah, okay, you gotta
want
try.
Want to look like a prophet on the desk? And I was like, yeah, okay. And he goes, we will win against EnvyUs. And I was like, why? And he just walked off. And I was like, well, that's no use at all, is it? I can't just be like, well, for no reason. And then when I asked him now, he came in the room afterwards and was like, did you predict that we will win? I was like, no, obviously not. It's EnvyUs. He's like, you should have had faith. I was like, brilliant, yeah, okay. Imagine the segments, yeah. I'm going to go with Nip for this one. Why?
Oh, why is that, Duncan?
A lot of faith. Got a lot of faith in them. Yeah. But in my heart of hearts, I believe they can do it.
You would have got wrecked. Then again, another player who predicted NIP to win was Crims, my favourite robot. He said that they were going to win, that they would smash EnvyUs, was what he said.
I mean, one thing, it wasn't how NIP won, it was how EnvyUs actually played. Actually, I also tweeted. I don't have to say my Twitter.
Anyone else plugging their Twitters today?
No, but I think people got it the wrong way in terms of like, because they were like, what do you mean they just lost one game? Yeah, but it was how they lost it. If you had paid attention to how EnvyUs played that whole series or that whole map, it was, I have never seen anything as poorly planned and played like EnvyUs just did.
Yeah,
running through like idiots. They played like idiots. Richard.
Well, Yanko, add to that. Let's pour it on. Let's not get back to Liquid. But there was.
I'd just like to go back in time. Imagine we could get in a time machine now and go back to like late 2013, and everyone's like, "Oh, Fiflaren, the criticism's all piling up on you, man. How are you holding up?" It's like, yeah. I wish people could just say positive things on like analysis and interview stuff. Then you flash forward to now. You bring him forwards in the time machine. He's like, "That guy's an idiot. What a moron this guy is. Does he even know how to play the game? Guy's a bot. He's terrible. Bottom of the scoreboard. Get him out."
Yeah, but then again, if anyone
you became everything you hated.
To be fair, I have never said anything about the desk when I was playing to be nicer. I never said that. Okay. In reality, as long as you have a valid point, I'll take it. Right, now, so you never really had valid points, Thorin, but I still took it because I'm a good guy.
Let's say Yanko's valid points. Fiflaren's talking about the way that they played. I did see a lot of mistakes in there. I mean, on the CT side especially, it's like some bizarre, rotations, and they seem to get caught out. What did you notice was the problem for EnvyUs?
Well, the thing I noticed that's really unusual for EnvyUs is how they played the second round after they won pistol. The second round, they rarely lose those rounds, but they were really sloppy. They were spread out. They lost a guy down slope, lost a guy in A apps, then went B and then lost that round. I was talking about it, how against EnvyUs you don't want to let them like have a good start early. You want to shut it down early, and it's exactly what NIP managed to do on both halves. In the first half it was back and forth. Then NIP manages to string, I think it was 6 or 7 rounds in a row. They were 9-2 up, ends up 9-6. They got a bit overconfident. In the second half, they win pistol, win first gun round. They're up 5-0. It's 14-6 for NIP at that point. It's really hard to come back, and NIP managed to close it out in the end.
Well, I mean, it was a comprehensive performance in terms of individual skill levels from NIP, but I thought Forrest really stood out for me. I mean, he seemed to be taking on this new role of almost like he was the entry fragger. There was so many rounds where he would just, on the T side, just run somewhere and seem to be getting 1 or 2 kills. It was just like, again, that's the type of Forrest that we rarely see, even when he was at his peak, because he was like the point man.
It does feel like in this latter era, he's the guy who over 2015, as he started to get it together more, that's when Nip started to have some good results again. Everyone was doing badly. It was only Get Right was doing well. That was when they were absolutely in the slump. it also felt like what was so crazy about this matchup here, it reminds me of the match against TSM at the Major, where the way they beat TSM at the Major was they outskilled them. And TSM is probably one of the skilled lineups in the whole world. Same thing here. EnvyUs is the most skilled lineup in the world, but they just lost straight out in aim duels. I mean, that says to me there was something was off on EnvyUs' play as well. You can't have that many fantastic players and have like next to no star performances in a game.
But it was very one-on-one as well. Like, I think that actually got to their head when they actually think, well, we have 5-star players, just go and kill them. You try that, and you do it by yourself. There's no team play involved, nothing, and you end up just losing the battles. What's gonna happen when it doesn't work? You saw the tactical timeout that Happy did. Didn't really, do anything for him. Because what are you gonna talk about, guys? What's going on? I missed my shot. Oh, okay. So next round, just take your shot and we'll win the round. Yeah, sounds good. And then you keep on doing that.
It's like my joke, okay, I said, because when it came up on the screen, they took a timeout, okay, early in the game in the first half, EnvyUs, and it said like, EnvyUs tactical timeout, and Happy was sat there. He wasn't saying anything to anyone. So I just did a joke, okay, I said, when Happy does a timeout, a tactical timeout, it should just be called a pause.
In reality, guys, I would really quite interested to see what to talk about during the tactical timeout today, because this is always the case. You never, whenever they go on too Happy, you never see him talk anyway.
Yeah. It was weird as well because Kenny S, obviously, I think he put a lot of the demons he had from, his first major final where he didn't win. He had a poor performance against Fnatic, and then of course he turned that round in Cluj. Great story, but actually in this game, historically he hadn't really performed particularly well against NIP, and it happened again for him here. He was making a lot of strange decisions, positionally poor, was dying way too quick, buying no time for his team. Is it a bit early to be talking about maybe him having some of the jitters here?
It is strange because actually coming into the Major, he's the guy who improved the most, I thought, actually, in EnvyUs' line. When he first joined, it was almost like the team won, but he was just a part of it. He was just another member and he just had to do okay. In fact, that was the joke. He'd come from hard carrying Titan to he could just play okay and they could still win the game. Coming into the Major, DreamHack London, he was probably an MVP of that tournament. He was very good at the Major. He was the best player for EnvyUs, and he actually was having star quality, out-dueling Guardian. You were like, right, Kenny S is becoming one of the best again. In this game here, I mean, there was like 3 or 4 NIP players who were playing better than him in this single map. So it's only one map. At the end of the day, EnvyUs could still win the whole tournament. He could be the MVP of the whole tournament. Yeah. But it's a worrying sign to start the tournament out with. It's also strange, again, this trend has carried over now from the Shocks era, where the first game is always the one that EnvyUs lose somehow.
Yeah, and of course, we were told that with Shocks departing EnvyUs, that was a problem that wouldn't exist anymore. Just some quick thoughts from you as well, because you wanted to talk about, NIP always seem to have this great record against EnvyUs coming into it.
Yeah, that's true to show it yet again here on home soil. I feel that EnvyUs lost as a team more than anything else. Like, no one on their team showed up, basically. The problem is, like, we had that TSM versus VP game just before. It was also on Mirage, and you can see, for example, when VP want to take mid control, it's so methodical. There's like very little room for mistake there, But on the EnvyUs side, they had a couple of missed smokes, small gaps. And that's all it takes for a player like Forrest, who was really, really impressive with the op in this game. He didn't have like 4K, rounds. He was just consistently picking up a kill or two. He completely dismantled the EnvyUs with the op, and I think that was the problem for them. They didn't seem on point at all. I was surprised that they even managed to claw back into that first half, winning 4 rounds in a row in the end, and I was hoping for a closer game if they get off to a good start in the second half, but it didn't happen. NIP just managed to close it out.
This really highlighted to me that EnvyUs is not a Mirage team. Like, they can mess around with it sometimes, but it needs to be against lesser teams. Yeah. Because think of the game we saw right before this. TSM and VP are putting on a clinic in terms of how you play the T side of Mirage. Incredible halves. Then you come to EnvyUs and they're on the T half, and this was incredibly meager. They only won when they just headshot people, basically. They never had like a set tactic they could execute 2 or 3 times and make it work.
Yeah, but isn't it exactly like NIP, the team they would want to play on Mirage if they play
so,
because NIP is not a...
You'd think they're in their range, wouldn't you?
They're not a team who's gonna like crush you with some crazy strats, tactics, smokes, flashes. They also like to go for those aim duels, so it basically comes down to when these 2 teams play against each other, who's gonna show up. I mean, individually and
NIP did.
Well, I mean, the difference as well is that NIP tend to do it together. Yeah. At least have someone there to, at least like maybe throw a flash, maybe do something, right? Yeah. Whereas Envy didn't have that this game. Again, like Thorn was saying, it's just the first game. But if this is how they're going to keep on playing throughout the tournament, they're only going to play 2 more games.
And they are going to have to take the scenic route now, of course. So we'll take a look at the bracket. and see what that result does. And this is obviously from the Group B side. So you can see confirmation of that NIP result. Comprehensive victory over EnvyUs. Now we've got Luminosity and Fnatic coming up. And of course, EnvyUs will have to play one of them. Now, don't get me wrong, the loser of the Luminosity Fnatic game are going to be thinking, well, you know, that's kind of messed things up for us a little bit. But EnvyUs aren't going to be thinking, well, at least we got an easy game, whatever happened. I mean, both of the Luminosity Fnatic game could go either way. And that's really thrown Group B for a loop, I think, the result.
The problem is with these two teams in particular, I say we just keep the prediction for the next one because they both change players and everything.
Yeah,
we have no idea about their, map pool or the veto process, how it's going to be like, because both teams basically played all the maps with their previous lineups, yeah. So I think whoever loses this game is going to be an underdog against EnvyUs simply because of the fact that the losers match is going to be a best of 3, and both of these teams are not nearly, prepared enough to handle EnvyUs in a best of 3. Although again, it depends if EnvyUs plays as bad as they did in this game. Whoever plays them has a chance, but we'll have to wait and see.
I don't really think I want to agree, because I mean, look at Luminosity. They won games. The best of one game is because of the teamwork, and never because of not a raw skill. You had their star players, obviously like Cold. Now you swapped out two other players 2 days before the tournament. No, they're not going to win.
That's too big a gamble. That's
No,
the
yeah,
thing.
yeah, that's
the
what
key
I'm saying.
thing is you
Just
take away
well,
the core strength.
Yeah, I mean, you have time after. Just wait. I know that you want to end this segment. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking,
I apologize.
We can save talking about Fnatic.
No, because I'm not going to get a desk, so that's why I just want to get it out here.
All right.
You know,
It's
just
all
wanna
about
get it out.
Fiflaren.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
all about Fiflaren. Have your
Thank you.
moment. Come on.
No.
Can we zoom in on him?
Yeah.
Zoom in on his
Can we
face.
zoom in on Fiflaren?
Go right in on his
Do that.
face.
Go on, get right
The
in.
production's amazing here. Great as usual, guys.
have
You
a
don't
scene
even
in
want to
camera,
listen
man.
to your mate.
No,
They're not
no.
even listening.
No, anyway, go on, make
Okay.
your point.
Yeah,
And
so
then
as I
put
was saying, like Fnatic at least, like they made their roster change earlier, and they just swapped out one player. Sure, it was an in-game leader. They have more raw talent now in their lineup. You're essentially going to look at a Swedish Envy.
Yeah.
Right? So no, I don't think the Luminosity is going to have a chance. I think Envy will also crush them.
Okay. Well, we will wait and see. Thanks a lot for your thoughts.
Thank you.
Lauren, I've heard a rumor that you won't be joining us in the next
Yeah,
segment.
I'll be casting again.
All right, okay.
That's a casting clock there as well.
Break your leg, mate.
Thank you.
Break your leg.
Thank you.
And thanks for your thoughts, gentlemen. Of course, we'll be right back. We're going to have a great game coming up for you next. It is going to be Luminosity versus Fnatic.